Nice to meet you, Marcus, meet you online. Can you just briefly introduce yourself and tell us what your position at THIMUN is and also at this specific conference?
My name is Dubock and I'm a teacher of English and French at the German International School of The Hague. I'm the chair of the THIMUN Foundation board. I've been that for 8 years. My role at this conference is to make certain that everything runs smoothly and that all the team pull together, not just the student officer team, but the team that are in the background, and also that my admin staff are pulling their weight. And I can, believe me, they are. They're very, very good.
Yeah, it seems that you're really busy at this conference.
Yes.
Can you just tell us a little bit about what your schedule, what your agenda looks like?
My agenda looks like this, normally speaking. This week I've not been feeling very well because I've had a back injury. But normally speaking, I arrive at 8:30, already on Saturday. We do registration all day Sunday from 8:30 till 6:30. In the evening we sit down and debrief and get ready for start-up on Monday morning. Monday morning I'm usually in the secretariat about 8:30. Usually, this year I wasn't, but normally I'm here at 8:30. I have various people coming to see me who want to talk about affiliation, who want to talk about future projects, because it's the only time in the year that they get to see me face to face. And they put forward their ideas for the future, which I'm always grateful for, because then I can talk to the rest of the board members and we get inspiration to move further in the, how can I say, in the global sense, in the global family, as I would call it, yeah? But then I usually, of course, I've got a meeting with the MUN directors, that's always at 12 o'clock. I have to look at the flag parade, if that's going to work, with my colleagues. Then, leading up to the opening ceremony, I'm usually quite nervous because I have to look at my speech and look at which speeches are in what order, and then meet and greet the ambassadors and the VIPs and pick up the guest speaker, whoever it is, and bring them into the auditorium. After that there is a VIP reception. After that there is a reception in the Bel Air for the MUN directors. And finally at about 9 o'clock I've got a little bit of private life.
Wow.
And every single day I work, normally speaking, from 8:30. Yesterday I worked from 8:30 till 11:30 in the evening.
Well, I'm impressed. It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. It's very nice, but and it's very varied because you're talking to different people.
Exactly.
You're giving interviews, you're talking to sometimes just visitors from The Hague, visitors from outside, MUN directors, people who are just global friends and who you really want to sit down and catch up with for the rest of the year. Yeah. Last night we had an advisory board dinner, and at that dinner we said goodbye to people who have been working at THIMUN for more than 20 years. Yeah.
You've just mentioned for more than 20 years. When did your career at THIMUN start, and how did you actually get to THIMUN?
Well, that's thanks to David Williams, who was a former colleague of mine at the German School in The Hague. He was one of the founder members of the original group. So the original group was Paul Sand at the ASH, and he was looking for 2 or 3 local partners in international schools that would start a small MUN conference, which they did, and David was one of them, right from the start. That was in 1968. And when I came to the school in 1984, there was only David Williams at our school, in the German school, who was engaged in THIMUN. And he said, it's a lot of work, and I can never get another person to help me. And I said, oh, I'm interested.
Mhm.
Yeah. And he was so pleased because he was managing the admin staff and the delegates. And he was on the board.
Wow.
It's a lot of work.
How big was THIMUN
And he
then?
was teaching. In 68 it was 500, and we grew to 2,000 by 1983.
Okay.
Now we're 3,500. Okay?
97 countries.
97 countries, indeed. Yeah, 97 countries. And 220 schools. That's quite a lot. And so he asked me, he said, well, you know, it's a lot of work. Come and see how you feel. And I ran the secretariat.
Okay, what you doing?
Which I still do. I still do. But I don't need to do it anymore because the students are so good. They train each other from one year to the next. I don't need to do anything, really. I'm just here. This is my office, and it's never been quieter and more smooth than in this year. Yeah.
Thanks to the students.
Thanks to the students.
I mean, we all know that 97 countries come to THIMUN and 3,600 delegates attending this conference, but still there are people in the world that have not heard of THIMUN.
Yeah.
How would you describe THIMUN or this conference to a person that has never heard of THIMUN yet?
Yeah, that's quite difficult, of course. Yeah, I'm often asked, well, what on earth is THIMUN? And then you start to say, well, it stands for the Hague International Model United Nations. What is Model United Nations? Model United Nations is, in essence, a simulation of the way the United Nations works, in essence. But that's not the only thing that it is. It is a conference whereby you learn diplomacy, you learn tolerance, you learn acceptance of ideas which you may have thought were totally alien to you when you came to the conference, and you learn to accept those other views. You might not adopt them, but you think, yeah, okay, I can see where they're coming from. And that's the idea, yeah, that the students who come to any MUN conference, first of all, learn about global issues, learn how the UN works, learn to solve, in theory at least, global problems with peaceful solutions. In other words, by negotiation, and not by threat, and not by war, but by talking to each other. Where there is dialogue, there's always hope. And that's what I would say to anybody who said to me, you know, what's the point of THIMUN? That is the point of THIMUN. You go away from this conference always, more or less, with more ideas, I would say, and a broader view of life. No matter what you take away from the conference, you've always broadened your view of life. And that can only be good,
Yeah.
for world peace. And that's what we want.
And I think that's also the motivation why 3,600 students
Definitely.
regularly participate in this conference here.
Yeah. I mean, we have a huge waiting list.
Yeah.
Yeah? And that's why we're trying to expand the regional conferences
Yes.
so that we can reach out to more people, because more people are interested in it, and that couldn't be better for us.
Yeah, mentioning like lots of different conferences. At the moment, I think it's 11,000 students worldwide debating on UN issues
Yeah.
here in Europe and in the United States.
And the United States.
What would you say, which is like a bit of a nasty question, but what would you say makes THIMUN such a unique conference?
What makes it unique, I think, is that it is truly international. The delegates are from all over the world, yeah? Which is not necessarily true of Harvard, for example,
Yeah.
which is the other big international conference. And we make sure that we keep that international status by inviting schools from different places in the world, yeah? And I also think what's different is because our rules encourage debate, yeah? The rules are simple, get down to lobbying, get down to debate. Whereas the Roberts rules, which is what the United States model uses, they debate about what to debate first, and I don't think that's what debate is about. You should be debating about the problems, boom, straight away, and not, shall we or shan't we.
You've mentioned before that there was relatively quiet conference for you here sitting in your office.
Yeah.
Have you heard of any kind of funny, extraordinary stories that have happened during this conference?
Oh,
any kind of gossip or secret?
There's always lots of gossip. There's always lots of gossip, and there are always lots of secrets.
Can you share the best ones?
I think it wouldn't be fair. No, it wouldn't be fair. I don't really like to do that. I do know that there have been very interesting ways of getting the delegates to contribute to charity. That you should ask Leonie about that, because she came to tell me of 2 or 3 things this morning, which we thought were very funny.
Okay, but thanks a lot for the interview.
Thank you, Marcus.